Today we have a reshoot of our ZForce HO Sport and HOEX. Our first one, we left out some key details I've come to find about how to plug in your lever or your switches. So we're going to try this one again, knowing what we've learned in the last 8 months or so. Here's the kit. You can either get this lever, which mounts to the column with some bolts that we supply, or you can get some toggle switches. You got your turn signals, your hazards, and your horn, and then the adapter has to plug it into the machine. This is the lever adapter kit. It plugs into our standard lever that works with our other modules for Polaris and Can-Am and Kawasaki and Honda and everything else, and then plugs in the machine. Here's some taillight adapters. They plug right into the taillights on this. We do get a lot of requests asking where to purchase these separately for people who have the factory CF Moto stuff on there. Unfortunately, it doesn't work that way. If you got the factory stuff, this will cancel your brake lights but give you turn signals, so that's not the solution. And then we have our horn and our horn adapter. This just plugs in the factory connector, and this goes to the horn. We have our license plate kit with some spacers and some screws. And of course, we can't forget the last piece of the puzzle is our turn signal controller. Now we make these in-house. We have a proprietary circuit board that's in there. We add our pigtails to make them plug into machines, and then we mold it on our little overmold machine here in the corner. And what this does is it plugs into on the ZForce 950 HO and HO Sport only, not the Trail or the Gen 2 or the smaller Sport. That's got a different module. But here we plug into a connector under the dash, and we plug into the brake switch. The difference between our kit and the CF Moto ones is we actually get the brake signal, and our controller sends the brake signal and the turn signal out one wire to each taillight. And that's how these work for us, but not CF Moto. So if you already got your front lights working and you want your back lights working with the taillights, unfortunately our little adapters aren't going to work for you. Plugging our taillight adapters in is pretty easy in concept. The only problem is the connectors are buried way up here above the muffler. Now we had to have one customer that took off his muffler. It made it a lot easier, he said. Otherwise, there's a trick to doing it. Alright, so we got this one unplugged. Way off. Yeah, come in. Nope. Middle. More towards the middle of the vehicle. There it is. So you gotta unplug it. You might need. So what you gotta do is there's a clip inside the connector that you gotta pry up on while also unplugging it. Right now it's about, yep, you got your middle finger on it. I know, right? These are the worst fucking connectors in the world. There we go. So all you have to do is that. You get it off the frame and unplug it. And you plug our jumper in. You just tuck it back up there and you can snap it back to the frame.
That's definitely not it. It's closer towards probably your thumb more. Otherwise, I guess where your thumb was pointing when I thought of it. Keep going more along the frame, towards the back. Your pointer finger was almost on it. Now it's by your thumb now. It's right on the frame rail in the back. Nope, that wraps around the harness. Go towards the rear. Just follow the frame up there towards the rear. Right there where your pointer is. Feel it?
Yeah. And that's understand it.
Well, part of the problem is you wrap the jumper around it. Now you're plugging the wrong one on there. There you go. The connector closer to you is the white one that was on the frame at the beginning.
So,
that one, yep. You're almost there.
like this.
Oh, you almost fucking had it. Oh!
It's on there.
It looks like it. That's what it should look like when you're done. This other one, we've had customers say that the harness got clipped between the frame and the back of here. Let's see what I'm doing. Which appears to might be the case on this one. You don't necessarily need to get the white connector detached from the chassis. All you have to do is unplug what's there and plug it in. So up there on the left, it looks like the harness from the vehicle is pinched. So we're just going to try to unplug the connector and plug them in as is. Otherwise, you have to take off a whole bunch of crap. This whole bed comes off. These fender flares attached to it. These two cool cans. There's a bunch of stuff underneath there. We've taken them off before. They're not fun. One thing you can do is if you pop this. Otherwise, you can't access it from here. I'll hold that. Well, if you go right up here, the connector is underneath here and you can get your hands on it. So there's more than one way to get at it. If you get in here, you gotta get your elbow off to the side because it's a sharp angle. The connectors are here. You just squeeze this clip, get it off, and then you can come on here. There you go. So there's two ways to get to that damn thing. Cool. Make it look easier than it is. All the experience of plugging and unplugging connectors and feeling what the connect, because some people are like, I don't know which way it goes, and I can feel on these where the tab is and where that little fucking nut is.
Yeah, probably about a million though.
Just in general, yeah. So there's installing taillight adapters. That is by far the worst part about the installing this, but it sure beats taking all this crap off the back. That took us like 15 minutes, so it wasn't the end of the world. Next, we're going to install our module. So if you come up underneath here, you'll see this one's got it just dangling there. We have this gray 12-pin connector. This is on all 23 and newer HOs and HO Sports and HOEX, and anything with a bigger chassis. And 22 is a lot of them seen out. This one is a 22, so it has it. They're not always hanging right there. Sometimes we found them tucked behind that motor, wrapped up in the harness.
But if you got this on there, your life is a lot easier. Otherwise, we have to run a harness from the front all the way to the back because the wires that we just plugged into do not exist. So another module. So we'll pop the hood open. So get at it, you'll want to pop the hood open because our module plugs into that connector and it also plugs into the brake switch. So just flip the two things forward. So straight up inside there is where we'll tuck our module. And what we'll do is we'll send the gray connector up into the dash from below and plug into there. And your brake connector just leaves sitting out here in front because that plugs in under the hood. So you'll want to go down here, reach up, find the module, plug it in. There you go. So he's got the module in his hand and he's gonna plug it into this other connector down here. There you go. It's down here. If you tuck it back up, you can pull it off the top a little bit. So we got our module plugged in there, and now this goes to your brake switch. So what we do is we pop the fuse box out of the way with a Phillips screwdriver. There's one bolt here and there's one in the back. Usually if you just get the front one out of the way, you can feed it down here. And you're looking for connector up here. So hold this. Down here is your brake switch. And here's the cable, and then it goes up into this cluster of wires. So there's a whole pile of stuff up here. They're never in any particular order. So you're not looking for this 6-way one that goes to your headlights. There's that 8-pin black one. There's a 2-pin gray. Here it is. This one's 4. So this is the one you want. It's got a white lock and it's got 4 holes in it. There's others up here that have 12, 16, 6, whatever. It's up here. They don't give you much room. You can gain some by unwrapping it, but it's that. So what we do is you unplug it from, it's already plugged the new connector on here. Let's find the other one. So I unplugged them. And now our module will plug into both of these. So you plug one connector in here and one in here so we can steal the brake signal. So the easiest way to do it is we pop this fuse box out of the way. And there's another bolt back here. It's kind of tricky to get to. If you take the cover off, it's a little easier. Pop the cover off. And those two got relays, or at least one of them. Sometimes we'll pull a relay or two to be able to get a screwdriver down there.
It's coming. Adios. Just enough. That's good enough. If that doesn't work, there's always the good old stubby screwdriver. Alright, so once you pull that out of the way, you can see there's that cluster of connectors right down here. So you can feel around down there, find the two ends of the one you unplugged, or you can maybe get to them better from up here. And they might be too short to get up here too, so what you'll want to do is just shove this part of the harness down there and plug it in one way or another to both of those connectors. And they are tight to squeeze together. They have a good weather seal in them, so you may feel like they're stuck, but they're not. They're just, there it goes. They're supposed to be quite waterproof. Right. There, now our module's plugged in. Now first we're going to install the lever on this one. So you'll need to take this bolt out. It's got a 10mm bolt and nut on it. Alright, so step one is we got to take this display off. Also over here. So on the back side, you got to remove two nuts. They're 10mm.
Yeah, it's long, isn't it?
Right? 4,000 inches longer than these would be. Fine threaded, probably. Once you get those nuts off, this back cover comes off, and you can unplug the instrument cluster. You got to pull the red tabs out, squeeze them, and unplug. Same on the bottom, it's upside down though. And to get more room, you can pull it out of the bracket. There's enough room on the harness to remove it from the bracket. There we go. I was about to say, it's got these bushings. There's one there and there's one down there. You don't want to lose them, so set them all off to the side with your cover, your module, in the front there, and the nuts for reinstall later. I'll go throw on a table or something. Now we can install our lever. First, you gotta take the bottom bolt out for the gas strut. So you're gonna remove this bolt, 10mm on both sides. And you'll need to keep the nut, but you don't need the bolt because that gets replaced by the one in our kit. Now you want to wiggle that bolt out. Inside. Now you can put our bracket on and start the bolt on the top. The black bolt in our kit threads right into the steering column. You need a 8mm or a 5/16 socket. And you can put the shouldered bolt in our kit through everything in the bottom. It's all real close, it just takes a little bit to finagle it all in. It takes a minute to get ours lined up with everything. There's the gas strut, the steering column bracket, the bracket for the instrument cluster, and an R bracket. You gotta line all it up at the same time with a shouldered bolt. But it goes in eventually. A lot of wiggling, swearing it's not actually gonna go. And then it does. I see the bolt. That's what success looks like. You can get the nut started on it. You can get the nut started, and then you can put the bolt in the top. And once you get everything started, you can cinch it all down to the 8 mil. The nut's a 10 millimeter and the Allen wrench is 4. There we go. Now you can put the display back in.
So it's supposed to pull all the way through?
No, it's a little longer.
Sounds good.
Yeah, we'll get the cluster and those spacers. So you want to plug it in first. The connectors are different colors and they're keyed, so you're not supposed to be able to. All right, so first you want to plug in your display. The connectors are different colors and they're keyed different to prevent someone from plugging it in wrong, but if you try hard enough, you probably can. Then you want to put your spacers in the bushings. It just disappeared.
Yeah,
Gone.
definitely could happen though. Drop a 10 mil socket or something, gone forever.
Put your spacers in, put the studs through, turn the steering wheel. Pull that back out. Now that you got the module put in through the spacers, put the back cover on and put your nuts back on. You gotta put them locks in. The red locks.
Oh.
And don't forget to put your locks in on the connectors. That ensures they won't rattle out later. There we go. Alright, now we're going to work in a dash, and here's the part I need clarification on for everybody. This middle piece with the switches comes out pretty easy, so we'll pop that out. Kind of snaps in like a weird shaped Lego. You can pull it straight towards you and it'll pop out. Alright, so if we reach down in there, there are 2 connectors that are easy to find. And they look like this. One of these is for the horn, and one is for the hazard switch. They're conveniently labeled. If you can read Mandarin, you're golden, but most of us can't. The third one we're looking for is in this cluster with the switches. Sometimes it's actually plugged into the switch blank, otherwise it's hanging there. So when we're looking at these, this one here, it's got orange in one corner, black brown in the middle, and blue in the other corner. That's for your turn signal switch. That's the one we need to plug our lever adapter in, or a turn signal switch if you're going that route with the switches. Then here in the middle, the 2 that everybody seems to find first, because obviously they're right there, easy to get, and not hidden up here with this other one. We only need one of those if we're doing a lever. first we'll hook up switches. So we'll plug the turn signal switch into this one. It's hazard. So ours are all labeled, so it'll say turn signal switch on it. You plug that into the one, it's got, you need to make sure it's got the orange and the blue in the top corners. Now this other one over here has the same color wires. Is there a way we can get these fuckers out here easier? Just too short. This is too short. You can get a light on them at least. You gain a 1/4 inch. Yeah, if you can get a light on the wires. So this one here, we'll just this one here, you have an orange in the top corner, and then you got the blue below it on the side. This is for the hazards. It's the same color wires, except they move the orange from here to here and the blue from here to here. So if you plug into this one, you'll get your right and your left will be flip-flopped if you go one way, and then the other way you won't have any signal at all. So that gets our hazard connector. And then this other one, we'll get the horn adapter. And that one has, it's got a brown, or black brown, blue white, dark green, and then it's got this weird baby blue color wire in it. That's for the horn, so plug into that. We'll plug our switches in. So if you're going toggle switches, this is what you'll be doing. The switches only go in one way, so there's a horn. So that should be your hazard. Now you can test it out. We'll turn on the key. It's right in the middle. All right. All right, so you turn it on. The ambers light up all the time. They're running lights. All right, I'll go left. I will go right. Do hazards. There we go. All right, so now we're gonna put our horn in. First, we're gonna start by putting our horn adapter on our horn. It doesn't matter which way you put the wires in here as long as the metal tabs go on the spades. I always bolt it to the bottom bolt on this coolant overflow. So what you can do is if you come underneath here, you can easily get your hand up on that bolt. Takes a 10mm socket. Now you want to feed the cable up high and bolt the horn in. Now this thing comes with 2 horn connectors. There's one way back there, you can see it, it's white, black, and it's got the 2 yellow dots in it. Otherwise there's another one right here below your ground. That one's easier to get to. They come with a connector in it full of cavity seal, so you have to unplug that first. It's kind of difficult to do, but if you reach underneath the machine, you can actually pull the connector right off the chassis. Put your hand up in there and pop it out. It's got a little like fir tree clip type thing. Okay. Where do you plug it? Perfect. Pull it out. At least now we can see it. Now it's like 4 inches long. So now we need to get that connector out of the middle of there. You'll have to pry up on the clip and pull out. It's kind of fun because there's no wires to yank on. So sometimes just a flat blade screwdriver to pry up on the clip and pull it out. Or if you're able to, you can get it with just your fingers.
So you can get up into the clip. And you pry and it pops right out. Now that will plug into our horn harness, and you can snap back to the chassis if you want to. So if you feed the horn harness up through the hole, you just want to feed the horn harness over to that connector and plug it in. You can do it from try above or below or however you want to do it.
So,
Right there. Here we go. Got it plugged in, and then you can put it back up on the chassis. Here we go. There, perfect snapper in. Push. There we go. All right, that's locked in. Now we can check the horn quick. Perfect. So the switches work. Now what we'll do is show you how to install the lever. So first we need to do the horn part of it. When you open your lever adapter, you'll see that one connector is pinned, and there's one that's just a loose wire, a connector, and an extra cavity seal, along with the yellow lock. So what we need to do is you find the horn connector here. It's the one that's got the dark green, the dark blue, the black, and then this weird color, like a light blue with a green stripe wire. That light blue with the green stripe wire is the one that goes to the horn. So you need to put your loose wire into the corresponding hole. So on this one, you'll want to plug it partially in and see. So this one is the bottom of the two. CF Moto has different pinouts for their horn switch. So you want to put it in. If it doesn't go in all the way, flip the connector or the pin over. Now you'll put the yellow lock in the front. So once you get the blue wire put in, and you push the yellow lock in the front all the way in, you can use a screwdriver or something. Plug the horn connector in. Put your cavity plug in the empty hole. Then your other one you'll plug into the turn signal connector. Now again, there's two. One of them's next to the horn, and that's the one everybody finds because obviously it's next to the horn and plugs in. That one's generally wrong. The one you want is this one that's got the orange and the blue wires in the corner. Now once you plug our connector into that one, you'll see that going across the connector, our orange matches their orange, our blue matches their blue, our red matches their brown because they use black as power over in China or wherever, Asia, everywhere else but the US uses black as power. So now this part just plugs right into your lever. So your lever you'll want to route through the dash, follow the factory harness, and get it down in here into the dash. Yep, and then you'll want to plug that in, but you also want to make sure that your cable goes through the same hole, or in a minute when you put this cover back in, you'll be fixing that. So we'll go check everything out with the lever. This time, for real, the lever. All right, you turn it on, it's ambers. All right, we'll go lever left, lever right, horn, and hazards. There we go. Everything works up front. We'll check the back quick. We got hazards back here. All right, go right, left, hit the brakes. I'll go one side or the other with the brakes down. Yeah, so with our module and our jumper, you have brake lights and then the blinkers cancel the brakes just like it would on a car. So now we'll put the interior back together with basically just this switch panel. This is besides the hood and the fuse box, this only covers or anything you would pull out. You'll start on the top and you just push pretty much straight in, because if you look at all the tabs, they point straight into the dash. So it's just a matter of getting everything lined up at the same time. Lining up all the tabs is quite fun. Perfect. So the interior is done already. Under the hood we have
just the fuse box left, so we'll put the relay back in it. We'll want to put that screw in first. You want the harness off to the right. There's more room over there. I could have moved this fuse box forward 1 inch to make this job easier, but it's not too bad once you get the cover and relay out of the way. Got a little stubby back here to tighten it up. I'll put the relay back in the middle spot there. And put the hood back on. It just snaps on those little slots down there. If you got a windshield, it'll slide right underneath there. And you got shitty tape. This little tab here needs to be down by the lock, not the unlock. Alright, and the last thing we gotta do is we're gonna put this license plate light on it. It's pretty easy. It comes with 2 spacers, 2 screws, and the plate, which plugs right into the factory connector in the back. Alright, so you're gonna pop out this bolt in the top right, 10 millimeter. And there's 3 little bolts over here. Those will be 8. They'll come off. Or is your... Oh, then on each side, there's 4 10 millimeters you'll want to get. Pop those 4 off both sides, and this whole back piece comes right off. So remove that back piece. Now we'll find the connector. Up in here, you'll see 2 connectors. One would be for trailer lights, and then there's another one that's just like the horn one on the frame. We do the same thing we did to the horn. License plate light, and we're done. Once you pop it down, it'll be right there, almost where you can easily access it. We'll pop that connector out like you did on front, and then we'll mount the license plate bracket to our back cover, and we'll be good to go. Here, you might get a better view of how to pop this thing apart. In theory, it's easy. Practice, nearly impossible. You run right side here. Yeah, just stick it up in there and then like pry up and out. Why is that doing it? There we go. So for this, what we do is we punch out the center hole for where it looks like a backup light would go, and then we'll use our spacers and our screws to thread the license plate bracket right into it. So cut out this punch out. It's mostly cut. You flip it over, sometimes it's easier to get. You can see where
Dull.
I use that to cut aluminum. What is yours?
Yeah.
Okay. There you go. Go back over. So you run the connector through that hole. Spacers and screws are in the corner, the black ones. You'll want to put your plate on there with a spacer and mark the center of your holes, and then drill a small pilot hole. So mark our other side and just drill straight.
Straight up.
Yep. Probably just move the plate. Like over the way you already marked it. Now put our spacers and our screws in, and we can mount this thing back to the machine. Like he's installed everything you have access is like the horn connectors up front, where you can see him. You can touch your finger, you can unplug the cavity link and plug your horn in without tearing stuff, hitting your arm with it and unhooking the frame. Yeah, it's easy, but it's just inconvenient enough to go, come on, you guys are so close. Like plugging in the ones in the taillights. It's easy to do with getting your arm in there, if the one's broken, it's not the easiest. So this is sort of good taillight. So I know I watched as much as I could. The front, yeah, but the timelines. But the back they don't wire. They run wire back. And I was getting special